A new format, some all new stages, and some familiar faces. Let's have a talk about the latest round of WRC, the upcoming Rally Italia Sardegna. And firstly, the 22nd edition of Rally Italia Sardegna is seeing another new format. The 21st edition last year tried a 48-hour format, where we started on the Friday afternoon and we finished on the Sunday afternoon, which meant that all of the stages were done within a 48-hour window. That's not happening this year, but there have been plenty of stages that have been changed in different ways, shapes and forms, some new to the WRC, that, well, the organisers are finding ways for everyone to keep on their toes. And on top of that, it will be a large entry list keeping people on their toes as well. We have a dozen Rally 1 cars in a field of 67 who are all going to be trying to go for class and overall wins. Starting off with the Rally 1s, unsurprisingly, Championship leader Elfyn Evans will be opening the road. Second on the road will be Carlo Rottenpera. That'll be followed by the reigning world champion Thierry Neuville, hoping to get Hyundai's first win of the season. Seb Ogier, who got the most points this time last year, and Oid Tanak, who won last year. We'll look a bit back on 2024 in a few moments' time. Adrian Fourmeau will follow them, then Taka Katsuta, Sami Pairi, Gregoire Munster, Martin Sesks, Josh McAlane, and Jordan Serdaridis. So that makes 5 Toyotas, 4 Pumas, 3 Hyundais. Will we see a 4th Hyundai sometime soon? I talked about this in my general notice the other day. Well, we'll have to wait and see, won't we? Rally 2 cohort is 42 strong for this event. Most of them are entered for WRC2, but some of them aren't. The top seed, number 20, Johan Russell, is. However, the second seed, Oliver Solberg, is not. Then we have a run of them who are entered for WRC2. Fals Aldevar, Jan Soland, Alejandro Cachon, Rupa Korhonen, who has just coming off the back of a win in the ERC. Sorry, not a win in the ERC, a second place in the ERC, as well as a win the round before to put himself into the lead of the championship. Roberto Dapra and Leo Rossell. And then we have our next non-championship entrant, which is Nikolai Grajin. Then we have another run of people who are entered. So Mikko Heikkila, Lauri Una, Diego Ruiloba, Emil Lindholm, Kajetan Kajtanovic, Pablo Sarazan, Romy Jurgensen, Diego Dominguez Jr., who is going to be in WRC2 for this round. Dominguez Jr. is running WRC2, WRC3 and JWRC this year. Then we can talk about the Toyota next-gen drivers of Yuki Yamamoto and Karu Kaguri, who are not entered for points this time around. But other drivers who are entered for points this time around, the Iron Dames car of Sarah Ruma and Julian Blard. Marco Balacia in GR Yaris. Martin Prokop, it's great to see him back in the WRC. He's got the number 43 this time out. He's going to be driving a Fabia. Robert Vervege, Pierre-Willy Lube, Bruno Balacia. Then we also have Giovanni Trantine, Fabio Schwartz, who I believe has got a new engine. I think I saw Armin Schwartz pulling that on his Instagram story the other day. Christian Tiramani, Abdulaziz Al-Kouari, which is a name that we haven't seen for a while in WRC, behind the wheel of a Citroen. Rachele Somashini doing her home round with Nicola Arena alongside. Giuseppe De Torre, Uiga Soyu, Juan Carlos Peralta, Pablo Bielgini, Miguel Granados, Pier Leonardo Bancher and Francesco Tali are the remaining WRC2 entrants. But we also have Rally 2s entered for Davide Bianco, Francesco Baroni, Eduardo Castro, Simone Romagna and Antonio Corda. Corda at the bottom of this list, number 74, driving an old spec Skoda Fabia R5. Despite some of our WRC regulars competing in Rally 2 this time around, we still have quite a strong RC3 list. Matteo Fontana, Matteo Chatillon, Karim Kazaz, Tom Pelleray, Timo Weigert, Nathaniel Brun, Andre Martinez Merazaldi, Slaven Sekujica, all entered for WRC3, and then Jean-Luc Gamara not entered for WRC points on this event. But yeah, some big names. The two Mateos up at the top. And some of these names are ones we do also see in the JWRC, who I guess are also going for a WRC3 bid. Have 3 Rally 4s entered as well. Valentino Leda in the 76. Rashid Al Mohandi in the number 77. He's got legendary co-driver Giovanni Bernaccini alongside. And Carlo Covi is also entered for this event. Then in RC5 we only have one entrant, and that is Giovanni De Luigi and Andrea De Luigi. Let's talk next about the stages. We'll start off on Friday morning, go through to Sunday at around 2:30 local time, 320 kilometers, so a longer edition than last year. Some stages are longer, some stages are shorter, some stages are all new. So let's get into that. Friday's 2 loops will start off with the Azucena test. Now this test did feature last year. There was a change in direction around 11 kilometers into the stage. This new test is about 1 kilometer, a kilometer and a quarter shorter than last year's version. The Telti Canadianus Bachida test is the second stage of the loop, 18.43 kilometers. This has not appeared in the WRC before. It appeared in Rally di Nuraghi e del Valentino. It also was in the historic Rally Costa Smeralda in the 90s, but I believe in the form that we're seeing in the WRC, even for regulars from even the island of Sardinia, this will be, to some degree, a new stage. The third stage of the loops is the Saconcheda test. Now, this has been in the WRC historically. It has made up part of the Monte Lerno test, especially with all of the different peaks around what is the start of the stage. It's running some of the Monte Lerno stuff in the opposite direction. And if I contrast it to last year, the first, about 15 kilometers of stage are about the same as last year. Then you go into a winding section, which I believe has been part of Monte Lerno before. And then we divert off because there is still going to be a Lerno test. We'll talk about that one in a second. But yeah, this sort of layout for Monte Lerno. I mean, some of the roads will have been in different editions. They would have been in, say, the 2023 version. But we haven't seen this stage like this before. And going to Monte Lerno on the Friday and the Saturday, it'll be interesting to see how that pans out. Saturday opens up with the Coiluna Loele test, 21.18 kilometers. Now, this is a test that seems to change every year in the WRC. I think 2020 and 2021 it stayed the same at 15 kilometers, but there's usually some different variations, some different junctions that have been used. All the way back to its first inclusion in the WRC in the first edition of Rally Italia Sardegna back in 2004, when it was nearly 28 kilometers in length. This one is 21 kilometers, so it is the longest it's been since 2022. Uses a lot of the similar roads to the 22 version, but a lot of different ones as well, some which are twistier with changes in elevation, climbs and descents. Then we have the other Monte Lerno test that I referenced a moment ago, Lerno su Filigosu. 24.34 kilometers is not the gargantuan test that we had in 2023, the Monte Lerno Saconcheda test, which was nearly 50 kilometers long. The stage starts off with the area around Mickey's Jump, and then it will just follow the roads up north for nearly 25 k's. These stages have been used in, well, these roads have been used in a lot of regional events. Now, the Sufiligosu test itself was in the 2023 edition of Sardinia. So, some of this stuff is new, some of this stuff is not, but for WRC competitors, the middle stuff may be new to them this time around. The third stage in both loops on Saturday is the Tula Arula test. Now, This is another one where the previous editions of Rally Italia Sardegna have used some similar roads, but also some different ones. Having a look through the data that we have on rally maps, no version since it first appeared in the WRC in 2016 is the same as the 15.28 kilometer one that we will see this time around. A lot of it is the changes in the middle of the stage with different chicanes and junctions and hairpins. If you compare, for example, the 22 kilometer version from last year, the 21 from the year before that, and the 15 from the year before that, there are dozens of different roads that are used in the different editions that all pop up. Now on the Sunday, this is going to throw spanners in the works. The first stage of the two loops is the San Giacomo Plebi test, 25.2 kilometers long. It last popped up in the WRC as the Gallura test in 2013, 13.5 kilometers. It used parts of what is the first part of this stage, but also had other bits that we're not seeing in this version. Likewise did the 2012 and 2011 test. I think the closest version we have in terms of Rally Sardegna is probably the S Giacomo test, which was in the 2006 edition. Used a lot more of the roads from the first half. But yeah, this is going to be new for a lot of the drivers in a lot of different ways, especially that second half of the stage, which looks twisty and technical. There's not too much in the way of elevation changes, only about 50 meters from peak to trough. But it's going to be a new challenge for everybody, at least to some degree. And then the power stage is all new. According to Rally Maps, it's appeared as the shakedown 3 times, and that's only the first 2 kilometers or so, for Rally dei Nuraghi e del Vermentino. The Porto San Paolo test, which will go up to Loari Porto San Paolo, along the Costa Romantica, is going to be new. It's near Olbia, Costa Smeralda, which is where the rally, I believe, is going to be based this year. We've previously had it in Alghero and Sassari. So the power stage that has caused so many issues for different drivers, well, it's not going to cause any issues this year, is it? And let's look back to the 2024 edition of the WRC in Sardinia. The closest finish in WRC history, as Oid Tanak beat Seb Ogier by 0.2 seconds. Ogier picked up a puncher in the very stage where Oid Tanak lost the win in 2019 on his way to his WRC title, because the suspension let go on the power stage. Danny Sordo got his second of his 3 WRC wins that day. In fact, his second and third WRC wins came on that same power stage, the third one being in 2020. But Tanak won out. That power stage isn't there this year. So what do they have in store? Well, I mean, the other thing is, lots of lineups have changed. Last year, we only had 5 Rally 1s make it to the end of the event. There were various different issues for the other drivers. Neville had to Super Rally, Katsuta had to Super Rally, Formeau had to Super Rally, which was a strange one given how consistent he was. In fact, I think the off that Neville had last year was the one occasion, because it was on the Saturday, that he didn't score championship points all year long. Because you think about it, 13 rallies, there were 39 opportunities. I think he scored in 38 of 39 opportunities. And the Saturday points tally from Sardinia, I think, was the only chance that he didn't. But yeah, it was a rally of attrition. 5 drivers made it to the end in the Rally 1 category without having to Super Rally. Gregor Munster in 5th was 6 minutes 42.9 off of the winner, Oit Tanak. And then in WRC2, Sami Pajari took the win from Johan Russell, Jan Solens, Martin Prokop, Kajetan Kajtanovic, and Robert Vervej. So it'll be interesting to see how that all pans out over the course of this weekend's event. Because, yeah, in terms of the ones to watch, you'd put your money on the top two from last year. Danny Sordo isn't here this year, so Tanak and Ogier, you would put your money on them. But at the same time, Thierry Neuville won by half a second here in what, was it 2017, 2018? So he's been competitive in Sardinia in the past as well. Elfyn Evans is someone to put your money on. Carlo Rompera has run well in the past as well in Sardinia. So it's not like you can necessarily rule anybody out in particular. I would say the people that are the safest bets are going to be our world champions. But yeah, even then, nothing's guaranteed. In WRC2, I mean, Russell did really well last year and kept himself out of trouble. He's somebody who could be dependable if he's able to keep out of trouble again this year. But also, because it's a rough and rugged event, two people who I would consider looking out for outsiders for it, because they sometimes do have the pace on events like these. Martin Prokop and Kajtan Kajtanovic, the man who sometimes runs under the moniker of Special K. He's switched to a Toyota this year. He's not in the Skoda that he has been running in for years. So we never know. I'd also probably say one of the Mateos will win in WRC3. Which one, I don't know. That Clio has been getting better and better on gravel events since its introduction to the rallying scene. So I can't really make a suggestion. Anyways, as always, those are my thoughts, those are my feelings. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching and joining, folks. Till next time, bye for now.